Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 3 of this amazing 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup series, where we will talk about the important players that y'all should know from each individual national team that will be competing in this year's World Cup. In today's video, we will discuss Groups E and F, so if you haven't checked out the first 2 episodes of this series, be sure to watch those videos first before watching this one, because I do not want to spoil y'all even if some of these teams that I will mention are already eliminated. And this video will also serve as an educational player guide for each respective national team. And don't forget that the link to both of the first 2 episodes will be shown in the description below. And by the way, feel free to skip ahead in this video's timeline to the specific country that you want to learn more about. Got it? Now we got all that out of the way, let's begin this video by first talking about Group E. Group E has Germany, Finland, Australia, and Japan. Let's start this video off by first talking about Germany. Germany is ranked as the 11th best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings, and Germany's head coach is the European veteran Gordon Herbert, who has won many titles in Europe, including the FIBA Euro Cup back in 2016, and European titles in France, Germany, and Finland. Germany brought a mixed roster full of NBA players and European studs, and Germany's best player is obviously Dennis Schroeder from the Toronto Raptors because he is their main scorer and playmaker with current World Cup averages of 20 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds a game. Germany's best defensive player is the versatile big guy Johannes Voigtmann because he is indeed a versatile 5 that can defend any position on the floor, while surprising everyone with his impressive shooting consistency and stroke. Germany's X Factor has to be Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic because Franz's game can't be placed in a box, because bro is literally the definition of an X Factor because he's literally a 6'10 dude that can do everything on both ends of the floor. Next, I will talk about Finland. Finland is ranked as the 24th best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings. Finland's head coach is the Finnish European veteran Lassi Tuovi, who has coached multiple professional teams from France, Istanbul, and Finland. Lauri Markkanen is obviously both their best player and best defensive player because he is indeed a rising NBA superstar who is one of the best young players in the world right now, with a great two-way skill set that practically allows him to greatly affect both Finland's offense and defense with current World Cup averages of 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 block per game. I fully expect Lauri to continue his absolute dominance in this upcoming NBA season, and Finland's X Factor in my opinion has to be the European sharpshooter Sasu Salin, who is capable of putting up points in a hurry with his amazingly consistent jump shot that is paired with his great offensive instincts, as Sasu averaged 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, shooting 36% from downtown in this year's World Cup. Next, I will talk about Australia. Australia is ranked as the 3rd best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings. Australia's head coach is the legendary Brian Goorjian, who has coached professionally in Australia and China. And fun fact, Coach Goorjian is a 6-time NBL Australia champion and a 6-time NBL Australia Coach of the Year. And fun fact, Coach Goorjian is a recent 2020 Men's Olympic Basketball bronze medalist, and he helped Australia win their first ever Men's Olympic Basketball medal in their country's history. And the achievements that I have mentioned basically solidifies Mr. Goorjian as a certified legend in the basketball world. Australia brought a mixed roster full of NBA players and NBL Australia vets. Patty Mills is obviously Australia's best player because he's indeed an NBA player, plus the dude can instantly spark any type of offense at desperate situations, with his great offensive arsenal that is paired with his absolutely elite court vision with current World Cup averages of 19 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Australia's best defensive player has to be the high-flying Xavier Cooks, because the dude is an excellent hustle player that can greatly affect both ends of the floor with his great athleticism and verticality, as Xavier averaged 14 points and a team-leading 7.7 rebounds per game in this year's World Cup. Bro literally rebounds the ball better than Australia's big men. Ain't that impressive? Australia's X factor has to be the young Josh Giddey, because Josh is literally a scoring facilitator that uses his game to add great consistency to an offensive system that really just wants to outscore their opponents, and Josh has been absolutely brilliant in this year's World Cup by leading Australia in points per game and assists per game with averages of 19 points, 7.3 assists, and 5 rebounds per game. Josh is literally cooking his opponents like he's Gordon Ramsay. Let that boy cook. Lastly, I will talk about Japan to end our discussion for Group E. Japan is ranked as the 36th best team in the world according to the Fiba rankings. Japan's head coach is the American Tom Havase, who has coached multiple women's professional basketball teams in Japan and the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA, and he has played professionally in the NBA and Japan. And fun fact, he was a 5-time JBL scoring leader during his playing days, and he led the Japanese women's basketball team to a silver medal finish in the recent 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and he is now making a name for himself for the men's team. Anyways, Japan's best player is obviously Yuta Watanabe, because he is indeed in the NBA, and he is their most versatile player with World Cup averages of 17.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.3 assists per game. Japan's best defensive player is the now naturalized big man Joshua Hawkinson, in my opinion, because he can consistently give his 100% effort on both ends of the floor, and you can really tell and you can really see his impact on the defensive end with World Cup averages of 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game. Japan's X factor, in my opinion, is the undersized Yuki Kawamura. But even though Yuki is indeed 5'8", he has performed really well during the World Cup with averages of 13.5 points and a team-leading 7.5 assists per game. And Yuki has just really stepped up as Japan's best guard, even if Yuki Togashi is currently struggling offensively. Alright y'all, let's now talk about Group F. Group F has Slovenia, Cape Verde, Georgia, and Venezuela. I will first start this discussion by first talking about Slovenia. Slovenia is ranked as the 7th best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings. Slovenia's head coach is the Slovenian European veteran Alexander Sekulic, who has coached professionally all around Europe while winning titles in Slovenia and the Czech Republic. The wonder boy Luka Doncic is obviously both their best player and best defensive player, because he has been absolutely dominating in this year's World Cup with ridiculous averages of 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. And don't forget, an amazing 3 steals per game. I mean, bro is clamping up. Luka is literally doing everything in his power to will Slovenia to succeed in this year's World Cup, even if it comes down to him to literally single-handedly carry his team in both ends of the floor. And Luka by far is the best performing player in this year's World Cup. Slovenia's X factor, in my opinion, is Klemen Prepelic, because he can literally score the ball at a very high level while helping Luka organize Slovenia's offense with World Cup averages of 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.3 rebounds per game. Next, I will talk about Cape Verde. Cape Verde is ranked as the 64th best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings. Cape Verde's head coach is Emmanuel Trovoda. But even though Cape Verde did not bring an NBA player, they still brought in a lot of talent. Cape Verde brought arguably the best big men in all of Europe with EuroLeague superstar Walter Eddie Tavares, who is obviously both their best player and best defensive player because he currently plays in the EuroLeague and in Spain with well-known club Real Madrid. Plus, he is one of the best big men outside the NBA, and he led the team in rebounding with World Cup averages of 9 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.5 blocks per game. Cape Verde's X factor in my opinion is Batino Gomez because he can really score at a high level and he can make Cape Verde's offense flow very well by simply just scoring the ball with his consistent and effective jump shot with World Cup averages of 14 points, 2.5 rebounds, shooting 43.5% from downtown, and that's why he's one of the best players in all of Africa. Next, we will talk about Georgia. Georgia is ranked as the 32nd best team in the world according to the Fiba rankings. Georgia's head coach is the Greek-European veteran Elias Zoros, who has coached professionally all around Europe, winning titles in Lebanon, Asia, and Lithuania. Georgia brought 2 NBA players in Goga Bitadze and Sandro Mamukilishvili, but they aren't Georgia's best player because that title belongs to European superstar Tenorke Shengila from Virtus Bologna. Tenorke Shengila is obviously both their best player and best defensive player because he's indeed a EuroLeague superstar center, and he is also a 2-time Eurocup champion with World Cup averages of 19.5 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. And Georgia's X factor in my opinion is Goga Bitadze. Goga has been performing well in this year's World Cup as the right-hand man of Shengila with averages of 13.5 points, 10 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game. The last national team that I will discuss in today's video is Venezuela. Venezuela is ranked as the 17th best team in the world according to the FIBA rankings. Venezuela's head coach is the Argentinian Fernando Duro. Venezuela did not bring any NBA players, but they still have a lot of talent. Garly Soho is obviously their best player because he has been Venezuela's best offensive player that can score well and efficiently with World Cup averages of 12.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.2 assists per game, shooting an incredible 36% from downtown. Venezuela's best defensive player is Nestor Colmenares because he leads the team in rebounding with World Cup averages of 10.2 points, 6.2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.4 steals per game. Venezuela's X factor in my opinion is Hezer Goland because of his incredible shooting ability and court vision, as he averaged 9.6 points, 1.8 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game in the World Cup. And that pretty much basically wraps up our discussion about Groups E and F of the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup. Don't forget, ladies and gents, to tune in next episode because I will cover the final 2 groups, G and H. Alright peeps, make sure y'all leave a like in today's video to show me that y'all enjoyed the video from start to finish. And I will greatly appreciate it if you hit the red subscribe button to join the OTL family today. God bless you and see you next time. Goodbye.